right, good morning. Is this on? Is it working? It's a lively crowd this morning. Good to see everybody here. Hey, I'm going to jump right in. We got a lot to cover today, but we have a really good ceremony. So, again, good morning, and I'm Sheriff Mike Williams, and it's my pleasure to host the June 2017 Meritorious Award ceremony today. I want to thank you all for being here and thank those who are joining us online. So today we honor the men and women of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office who have gone above and beyond in their duties to provide outstanding service to our community. And we also want to take the opportunity to publicly thank citizens and organizations who have assisted us in our mission. So with that said, let's get started. So approximately about a year and a half ago, we started kicking off each ceremony with recognizing recipients of what we call the Peer Achievement Award. This ribbon means that the actions of these individuals represent a degree of competency, excellence, or professionalism that clearly distinguishes them amongst their peers. So remember, this award is voted on by their colleagues, and I want to thank all the employees of JSO who take the time to nominate their peers for these awards. So that being said, with the following Peer Achievement recipients, please join me at the podium. Corrections Officer Eric Chance, Police Officer Christopher Barrier, Police Officer Brianna Young, and Police Officer Jonathan Terrell. Please join me up here. One more round of applause. Thank y'all. So, and receiving their second Peer Achievement ribbon today would Police Officer Aaron Hustleton and Police Sergeant Dennis Payo. Please join me at the podium. All right, let's give them one more round of applause. All right, outstanding. Our next two honorees have demonstrated exemplary service to our community and were voted on by the Merit Board for recognition for Of the Month honorees, as were the others in this category that they're all being recognized today. So with our June 2017 Police Officer of the Month, Detective Paul Shaw, and our June 2017 Police Supervisor of the Month, Police Sergeant Ron Billiou, please join me at the podium. All right, these two are both assigned to work in the Investigations Division, and more specifically in the Burglary Unit. So today we are recognizing these two for their dedication to an investigation solving a pattern of burglaries to businesses that were occurring throughout Jacksonville. In December of 2016, we had 18 of these types of similar burglaries that occurred involving similar suspects and methods. And the suspects were targeting a variety of places such as convenience stores, beauty supply shops, phone stores, and dollar stores in town. Paul, who had recently made a lateral move within the agency to work in the burglary unit, was assigned 2 cases involving one of the suspects. Ron, who was Paul's immediate supervisor, oversaw this lengthy investigation and helped put the pieces together by searching for any patterns or trends. Paul utilized every available resource to him, and as the case progressed, he requested a news release to go out to the media. This release included a picture of the suspects involved in both of Paul's cases. As a result of the news release, numerous tips came in on both suspects involved in these incidents. And using those tips, Paul was able to identify a person of interest in the burglaries. Ron took this information and began compiling all pertinent information regarding this individual. And Ron brought this information to the monthly meeting where surrounding counties come together and share information about existing cases. So Ron provided law enforcement personnel from around the area with an overview of all the burglaries and what to look for in a case if they begin to experience similar crimes in their jurisdiction. Then on Thursday of February 9th, law enforcement personnel from the Baker County Sheriff's Office provided these two with a picture of a car used in a burglary in their jurisdiction in Baker County. Ron and Paul were able to verify that the vehicle used in the burglary was in fact registered to the person of interest in the identified cases in Duval County. Through coordination with detectives from Baker County, a deployment schedule was set up and put into place. On Tuesday, February 28th, the burglary unit, with the assistance from patrol, apprehended the main suspect in these cases while he was attempting to burglarize a location on Merrill Road. The suspect was brought in for questioning, and the adjoining counties were also notified so they could interview the suspects about cases in their own jurisdictions. During the interview conducted by Ron and Paul, the suspect confessed to 5 burglaries in Duval County, 2 in Baker County, and 2 in Green Cove Springs in Clay County. So Ron and Paul didn't stop there. The day after the interview, they continued to review information and videos from other burglary cases JSO was investigating, and their persistence and attention to detail resulted in 10 additional burglary cases being cleared. Ron credited Paul by saying his interview of the suspect was exceptional, and his continued efforts were instrumental in solving these cases. He went on to say that Detective Shaw has demonstrated a commitment to the businesses victimized and to the community as a whole. Police Lieutenant Ray Belt said, "The tenacity displayed by Sergeant Bill Yu during this investigation is to be commended." He went on to point out that Ron got very involved and contributed on so many levels during the investigation. As for the second suspect in this case that I mentioned before, a warrant was eventually issued for him, and he was arrested, and currently both these suspects are awaiting sentencing. Ron and Paul, I want to thank you for your concerted effort to solve these cases and to get these individuals responsible for these crimes off our streets. Your actions truly represent Sheriff's Office core values of community-focused, as you were determined to bring these cases to a successful resolution for the business owners who were victimized by these suspects. This is also an excellent example of a supervisor who is totally engaged into the work of his or her men and women, and I want to tell you, great teamwork, and I'm proud to honor both of you with Supervisor and Police Officer of the Month. Congratulations. So, Paul, our Police Officer of the Month award is sponsored by Nimnik Chevrolet, and I'd like to invite Tim Howes to the podium. Tim?
You know, every month, Amanda gives me the name, and I get the check cut, I get the plaque made, and all this sort of stuff. And for the first time in probably 3 years or more, I actually figured out who it was. So I'm always sitting around looking, oh, is this my person? Is this my person? And then I'm never right. Well, I didn't know I got it this time. On behalf of Nimnik Chevrolet, I'd like to say we do appreciate your dedication and hard work, not only to the JSO, but to the citizens of Jacksonville and Baker County as well. So on behalf of Nimnik Chevrolet, I've got a check for you and a plaque. Thank you very much.
So, to Ron, our Police Supervisor of the Month award is sponsored by Stein Martin. I'd like Sean Cormer to join me at the podium.
On behalf behalf of Steinmart, what I would like to say is, as a guy that was a former Marine, I say that just about every time I stand at this podium because I just want to let it be known that I appreciate good leadership.
Enjoy the trip. All right, so you just heard about these two burglary unit members that led this case, and now it's time to recognize everybody who assisted in bringing this case to a successful conclusion. So when I call your name, please come to the podium. Detective Kenya Bush, Police Officer Dale Cullen, Police Officer Kathleen James, Detective Sheriff Kilpatrick, Detective Justin Richardson, Police Officer Trey Tickham. All right, today these police officers and detectives are being recognized with certificates of commendation for playing vital roles in the arrest of the main suspect involved in the multiple burglaries to businesses that we just talked about. As you may remember from the story I just read, Ron and Paul's efforts, there was a deployment that took place on February 28th. During that deployment, this team assembled up here was strategically placed so that they could relay information to one another as the suspect was attempting to break into this business. As a result of good communication and teamwork by all of the participants standing up here today, the suspect was taken into custody at the scene. Police Sergeant Ron Billieu stated, everyone involved maintained excellent communication and officer safety during the takedown. He went on to say that the overall teamwork, discipline, and positive communication skills were key elements to a successful operation. So I want to thank each of you for your hard work and your actions that you demonstrated that day, and I'm honored to present each of you with a certificate of commendation. Congratulations. That's great work. Let's give them one more round of applause. All right. Next, I'd like to recognize our June 2017 Corrections Officer of the Month. So would Corrections Officer Kathleen Howes please join me at the podium. Kathleen? So Kathleen is currently assigned to work at the Montgomery Correctional Center, our prison facility. She is the Services Resource Officer for Sanitation, where she ensures the cleanliness of the entire facility. So today we are recognizing Kathleen for 3 events where she helped individuals in need last year and exemplified the Sheriff's Office core value of being community focused. So in early 2016, Kathleen responded to a medical emergency code at the prison. Kathleen and another correctional officer were assisting one of the inmates when medical personnel arrived on scene. During the medical exam, the inmate became unresponsive. Kathleen and her colleague assisted with CPR by performing a sternum rub, which in turn helped revive the patient, and the inmate was subsequently transferred to a local hospital for treatment. Shortly after that incident occurred, Kathleen and her supervisor, Corrections Sergeant Marina Dukes, were driving down State Street in downtown Jacksonville when they spotted a male dressed in a hospital gown crossing the street. Kathleen insisted on turning around so that she could see if that individual needed assistance. Location and the traffic pattern, Kathleen had to exit the vehicle and run approximately 1 block to catch up to the man. And when she approached him, she asked him if he needed help and asked him where he was trying to go. The man seemed disoriented, which led Marina and Kathleen to contact dispatch and ask for a patrol unit to respond to the scene. The patrol officer was able to identify the man, and as it turned out, he had walked away from a local hospital where he was receiving treatment. More recently, Kathleen responded to another medical emergency in the dining area of the prison where an inmate was choking. Kathleen administered the Heimlich maneuver, but unfortunately this did not yield any results. She took another approach by depressing the inmate's tongue to help clear the object from the throat. This ultimately worked, and the inmate credited Kathleen for coming to her aid and ultimately saving her life. In addition to her regular job duties, Kathleen also volunteers with events such as Hubbard House's Domestic Violence Awareness Campaign and Walk, and the PAL of Jacksonville's DNA Unique event for young girls in our community. Corrections Sergeant Marina Dukes had this to say about Kathleen. Each day, Officer Howes gives 100% effort to her job. She can always be relied upon to assist in any manner at the facility and in the agency as a whole. So Kathleen, I want to thank you for your service, all you've done for the city and for this community and our agency, and keep up. Congratulations. So our Corrections Officer of the Month award is sponsored by JM Families, and I'd like to invite Mark Lunsford to the podium.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. And wow, you've been busy, Officer House. So, on behalf of the JM family and our corporate security team, I'd like to present this token of our appreciation and thank you for your outstanding service to our community.
All right. So our next honoree recently celebrated her birthday this past Sunday. So with the birthday girl in our June 2017 Civilian Employee of the Month, Executive Secretary Amy Winstead. Please join me at the podium, Amy. So Amy is assigned to work in the Investigations Division, where she is the Executive Assistant for our Chief of Investigations, Chris Butler. In this role, she handles the very busy Investigations Command Staff Office and ultimately keeps up with more than 250 employees. Today, we are recognizing Amy for her overall approach to her job and willingness to always lend a hand where it's needed. So Amy recently created a system for the administrative team to visually track personnel who leave or move to another area of the agency. Amy's forward thinking helped make this process easier and smoother for the staff, so they have that information when they're deploying resources. Amy is currently in the process of attending college classes to obtain her Associate Science degree in Office Administration, and she is working to complete Incident Command System training, what we call ICS. Her ultimate goal is to be able to assist us as a resource unit leader in the ICS structure should the need arise. And this is a volunteer position and has required her to take both entry-level and advanced courses to obtain this role, and some of these courses were outside of her normal work hours. So that's not all. As some of you know, in October of 2015, I rolled out my strategic initiative where I asked 4 citizen-led task forces to examine key areas of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. These areas were community engagement, resources, training, and transparency. And despite having numerous responsibilities in her current position, Amy volunteered to handle all of the administrative task duties for the Resource Task Force. This included ensuring that all the committees operated within the Florida Sunshine Statute, and by making sure that all the minutes and materials were kept so that they could be posted on our websites immediately after the meetings. Amy frequently volunteers at events such as the Jacksonville Jaguar games, where she dispenses water to officers working traffic assignments, and she even works on her days off at conferences hosted by JSO to help ensure that the attendees to those conferences have their needs met. So in addition, Amy assists with the preparations for our annual Police Memorial Day service. And if you haven't had a chance to attend that, it's May every year. I would encourage everybody to come out and just participate, just watch. And it's an incredible ceremony. We couldn't do it without the help of employees like Amy. And the law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics that we do every year. Not taking a class or volunteering, she supports the Department of Corrections when their administrative assistants are on leave. So on these days, she splits her time between the investigations office and the jail. Director of Corrections, Mike Bruno, said this, and I quote, "Amy's willingness to transition from one job to another, from one building to another, is immeasurable and appreciated by the corrections professionals that she works with." Chris Butler also praised Amy's work by saying, "She has consistently demonstrated that she is a team player and is willing to go above and beyond to ensure the Sheriff's Office needs are met, and she meets the commitments to the community." Went on to say that she always meets the challenges with enthusiasm. Amy, your devotion to your job and to this community is to be commended. I want to thank you for stepping up and volunteering for these roles. I'm glad to see you're on our team, and congratulations on honoring the June 2017 Civilian. Our Civilian Employee of the Month Award is sponsored by Alhambra Dinner Theater. I'd like to invite my friend Craig Smith to the podium.
So, Sheriff, I just want to mention real quick, Ron and Paul, we've been doing this for years now. And if we gave out a Best Dressed Award for of the month, you both look like bank presidents, and I was very impressed. So, Sheriff, I appreciate you helping me with the interview process with Amy. Amy, I'm convinced that I need to hire you. So if Sheriff don't take care of you, just let me know, okay?
I've got a mind, but I'm good right now.
No guns. There's no handsome men or guns at my place. But anyway, listen, congratulations on behalf of the community. We appreciate you. Got some tickets for you and a plaque, and congratulations.
I'd like to thank Craig, too. This is the last time he's going to be recognizing the Civilian of the Month, trying to steal our employees. But thanks for coming out, Craig. We appreciate it. All right. Next, I'd like to invite our June 2017 Corrections Supervisor of the Month to come to the podium with Corrections Sergeant Michael Walker. Please join me at the podium. So Michael is assigned to work at the Montgomery Correctional Center, and today we are recognizing him for his attention to detail that helped prevent a devastating situation from occurring at the prison. So at approximately 11:05 p.m. on Sunday, March 12th of this year, Michael was in the process of conducting his usual security rounds of Building D. As he began to approach toward the laundry room, he observed smoke coming from the room and spreading into the main hallway. Michael immediately entered the laundry area and discovered that a laundry cart full of clothing was on fire. His radio to inform his colleagues about the live fire and let them know that this was not a drill. So Michael quickly moved the burning cart into the outdoor staging area where staff members equipped with firefighting equipment were on standby to combat the fire with Jacksonville Fire and Rescue while they were en route to the scene. When JFRD personnel arrived, they conducted a thermal heat scan of the laundry room to ensure that the threat had been contained. Lieutenant David Chambers of the Jacksonville Fire and Rescue Department praised Michael for his quick actions that day. He also stated that with a number of other flammable items nearby, the chances of that fire spreading were great. Corrections Lieutenant Herbert Appleby said this, and I quote, "Sergeant Walker's quick actions definitely prevented a devastating event. This particular incident is just one example of Sergeant Walker's serious approach to his duties and his attention to detail. So, Michael, I want to thank you for your actions that day. I commend you for your quick thinking and for getting the fire contained. And congratulations on earning the June 2017 Corrections Supervisor of the Month Award. Congratulations. Our Corrections Supervisor of the Month Award is sponsored by First Coast Security, and I'd like to invite Bland Cologne to the podium. Bland.
Congratulations, Sergeant. Great job. Did you know that cleaning chemicals are the most highly toxic chemicals there are? I just learned that the other day, coincidentally. That could have been devastating. I mean, that could have been devastating. So great job, and I appreciate that very much. So on behalf of First Coast, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you're doing. Have a little gift and a plaque for you, but most of all, this is a coin, not to compete with the sheriff's riding with the brand coin, but this is riding with the saints. This is a St. Michael coin. St. Michael is the patron saint of all law enforcement, first responders. Put that in your pocket, keep you safe. God bless, and thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank y'all for coming. Appreciate it. So we talk a lot about it, and you hear it a lot out in the community about, law enforcement professionals, corrections, and police putting their lives on the line every day. That's an example of that you don't hear a lot about. And sometimes, outside of these walls goes unrecognized. But, Michael, thank you for that. That's great work. So for our next recognition, I'd like to invite Detective Trevor Boyd and Police Officer Richard Santoro to the podium. So today, these two will be receiving certificates of commendation along with their colleagues, Police Officer David Couch and Police Officer Jake Hiller, who were unable to attend today. So today we're going to recognize them for their patrol work that led to solving 3 cases in mid-March of this year. On Wednesday, March 15th, an armed carjacking involving a blue vehicle and several male suspects was reported at an apartment complex on Hartley Road. Patrol units arrived at the scene. The officers were able to obtain a description of the victim's vehicle and learned that the victim's iPhone was still in the car that was stolen. Officers utilized an app to locate the phone, and they were able to obtain a real-time location of the victim's vehicle and phone. Patrol units at the scene updated the patrol units out canvassing the area with this important information. Richard, Trevor, and David located the victim's car along with the suspect's blue vehicle at the intersection of Bay Meadows Road and I-95 North. The officers attempted to get the suspects to pull over. However, they refused to comply, and at that time a pursuit involving both vehicles was initiated. Utilizing their patrol radios, this team of officers provided continuous information regarding their location, speed, and traffic conditions, which is incredibly important during a high-speed pursuit. It's not quite like you see in the movies, but incredibly dangerous and tough to manage. So due to the information provided, Jake, who was patrolling in the area at the time, was able to deploy stop sticks when he saw one of the vehicles approaching. This resulted in the driver's side tires becoming deflated on that victim's vehicle. The suspects continued northbound in the 2 vehicles, and those 2 vehicles ultimately, 2 suspect vehicles, split up. One vehicle went into downtown Jacksonville via the Main Street Bridge, and the other continued north on I-95. Trevor continued following the blue vehicle through downtown, and the driver ultimately crashed at the intersection of Ocean and Orange Street. Driver of the vehicle attempted to flee on foot. However, Trevor gave chase and was able to take the suspect into custody without incident. Meanwhile, the driver of the victim's vehicle, the other vehicle, crashed the car into an electrical pole as he was trying to exit onto Edgewood Avenue off of I-95. Victim's vehicle became disabled, and David and Richard were able to take 2 additional suspects into custody. Meanwhile, JSO's Communications Center received a call in reference to an additional armed robbery that had occurred on Hartley Road and Old St. Augustine Road with the same suspect description. It turns out that this robbery had occurred several minutes prior to the armed carjacking that brought these original officers to the scene. As the investigation progressed, it was learned that the blue vehicle was used in the commission of these crimes and that it was actually stolen in an armed burglary a few days prior. As a result of the actions put forth by these 4 officers, 3 cases were solved and cleared, and obviously 3 dangerous felons taken off the street. So I want to thank you, Trevor and Richard, for your hard work that day in helping to get these individuals again off our streets. Congratulations on the job well done. Nice one. I'm going to ask if you have a friend here because we have my wife, 2 kids, and awesome. Trevor brought family and a fan club. Look at that. That's nice. That's great work. Next, I'd like to recognize an individual that was recently appointed to my staff. So would Assistant Chief Kevin Goff please join me at the podium? Kev. In December of 1993, Kevin earned his degree in criminal justice from the University of North Florida. In October of the following year, Kevin began his career with JSO as a patrol officer. Then in July of 2003, Kevin was promoted to the rank of police sergeant, where he served in patrol in Zone 5. In 2005, Kevin was promoted once again, this time to the rank of police lieutenant. And most recently, Kevin was the commander over JSO's integrity unit. And this position reports directly to me and the undersheriff and handles special investigations such as human trafficking and investigates all allegations of criminal wrongdoing by officials. End of April, I appointed Kevin to my staff, and he's currently serving as the assistant chief in Zone 4. Kevin, congratulations on your appointment and your outstanding career up to this point at JSO, and I look forward to seeing what you accomplish in your new role. Got to tell you, I've worked with this guy in a bunch of different capacities over the years, and it couldn't be a better example and a better leader to our troops. So, Kevin, thank you for that, too. How's that? Dang, we got my wife. Thank y'all for coming. Yeah, congratulations. All right. Next, I'd like to recognize those who have recently been promoted here at JSO. So would Police Emergency Communications Sergeant Jason Duggan join me at the podium. Jason? In January of 2007, Jason began his career with the JSO as a police emergency communications officer. During his more than 10-year career here, Jason has earned accolades including the May 2010 Civilian Employee of the Month Award and the Communications Center Training Officer of the Year Award in 2014. In April of this year, Jason was promoted to the rank of Communications Sergeant and is currently assigned to work on the midnight shift in the comm center. Jason, congratulations on this accomplishment, and I wish you best of luck in your new position. So as many of you may have seen yesterday, we had a little bomb threat here at the Police Memorial Building and evacuated the building. We also evacuated the comm center. And you talk about true professionals. We had the comm center moved to the backup comm center, which is another location downtown, really within about 25 minutes. There was absolutely no interruption in 911 service or any call taking service. And that's really speaks to the professionalism of the men and women who work in that unit in an incredibly challenging job. But I want to take a minute and publicly thank them. That was a lot of great work. So thank you guys for that. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, for our next recognition of the day, I'd like to have recently promoted security guard Sergeant David Sirota. Please join me at the podium. David. David has an associate's degree in divinity from Global University, and in June of last year, he began his career here with the JSO as a security officer. During this time, he was assigned to work at the Bay Street entrance of the Police Memorial Building. Most recently, in May, David was promoted to the rank of security guard supervisor, where he oversees the night shift. I also want to mention that David has some family here at JSO. His wife, Gloria, works in the record section. So, David, congratulations on your promotion. I wish you the best of luck in this new role. Congratulations. That was quite the challenge yesterday, not to mention the bomb threat again, but lots of people stepped up. The security staff did as well. So they turned out to be a good drill. Learned a lot from it, but again, had a lot of great people step up and make that work yesterday. I want to thank them. So with our next recognition, would recently promoted Corrections Sergeant Quanta Walker. Please join me at the podium, Quanta. But Quanta has some family ties here at JSO. Her dad and uncle are both sergeants with the Corrections Department. So she began her career at JSO as a corrections officer in May of 2006. Then in April of this year, she was promoted to the rank of Corrections Sergeant and is currently assigned to work at the jail. So Quanta, congratulations on your promotion, and I wish you the best of luck in your new role. All right, this next honoree was recently promoted earlier this month to the rank of Police Sergeant. Would Sergeant Ko Matsui please join me at the podium? Ko. Ko has a Bachelor of Science degree in Adult Health from Bloomberg University and a Bachelor of Science degree in Rehab Services from Penn State. Tomorrow will be 14 years since Ko started his career at JSO as a law enforcement officer. As a police officer, Ko has had the opportunity to work in various areas of the agency, including patrol, the criminal apprehension unit, the gang unit, and he also served as a member of the SWAT team. In April of this year, he earned Zone 1's Officer of the Month award. And as I recently mentioned, Ko was just promoted a couple weeks ago to the rank of Police Sergeant and is currently assigned to work in Patrol 3 on the south side of Jacksonville. Ko, congratulations on this accomplishment. I look forward to see what you accomplish in your new role. All right. Our last promotion recognition of the day, I'd like Police Lieutenant Phil Alicia to join me at the podium. Phil? So in May of 2000, Phil graduated from VMI with a Bachelor's in Arts degree in history. Then in July of 2004, he started his career with the JSO as a police officer. In July of 2013, he was promoted to the rank of police sergeant, where he's had the opportunity to work in various areas of the agency, including patrol and the field training office. A couple weeks ago, Phil was promoted to the rank of police lieutenant, and he is currently assigned to work in Zone 1, which includes the downtown and Springfield areas of the city. So, Phil, congratulations on this big accomplishment. Wish you the best of luck.